So how do we manage a service booking? If we go to Service Bookings Find, in this example I'm going to just use one of the search criteria that's possible here, which is the dates, and look for those created on a particular day, and I will find a service booking, or those service bookings created today. As you'll have seen, you can also search via customer, you can search via the items serviced, you can search via serial number, etc. So I open up this service booking, and what I can see immediately is that we have these two items here, these two regulators available and needing service. So let's imagine that the service technician is working their way through. They can indicate when the work has started on a particular item, when the work is finished. Clearly this may be a little while, so in this example I'm going to say a 4-day period. You'll note here very importantly that Eve has now pre-populated the fact that the next service due is 1 year later in this case, and that is because we have set against the stock type of regulators that we're going to set Eve to always maintain a 1 year in addition to the current service completion date for when a regulator is next due for service. We'll be able to use that for reminding our customers of when services are due in the future. Down here, in a similar way to the instructions fault that we used when the item was being checked in, we can indicate by using these notes whether a service, full service for example, has been done. As before, you can edit these notes by right-clicking for later use. You also have full free text abilities. So I'm noting here the fact that, as per the customer's request, we have replaced the low-pressure inflator hose. I can enter in the service technician's name here, and you'll notice that in this area now I can assign parts to this particular item as it has been serviced. So for example, if I hit search and go to service kits as a stock type, I can assign service kits that have been used here, and that will bring those straight in, and you'll see on the right here that the parts total of the price the customer will pay for their service has started to build up. If there are more parts to be assigned, I can continue to add those, etc. You'll also see that I can add in a labor charge here. Now that labor charge can either be added here, or of course, should you wish, you could have that as a separate stock item that you add into the parts basket. Whichever you choose, Eve will work for you. And now we can see that for this regulator that we've done here, the status has already started to be changed, that the work is complete. That's why we have a tick, and we've built up a pricing. We've controlled the stock of our service parts that's going out, so we can always reorder those. We'll know exactly how many we need, and so on. And a full history for the customer of what has been done has automatically been created. I'm now going to move to the other regulator, and this one might have a different service technician, for example. Work may have started on similar or different days. Work may have finished on similar or different days. And again, you'll see here that Eve has pre-populated the next service date due. I can again note the action taken, and again put in a labor charge and put in a parts charge by clicking parts, searching for my service kits, and assign these to the item. At which point we now have a service booking that, if I go to the receive items aspect, will now say, we can see here on the summary that work has been completed on all items, full service has been done on both, LPI has been replaced, and we have a note of the parts used on the service, a note of the amount of labor. we can see that overall this one would be 369.93 of obviously whatever currency you have set in. Now, at this point, I can simply save this service booking. Now, the great advantage of saving this service booking is that is now left there for any other time you want to go back to it. An example of which and of why you'd want to go back, of course, is to send this to an invoice. One option is to send that to an invoice immediately, and I can hit this Send to New Invoice button from here, and the options I've allowed now are to a new invoice or to any perhaps of the ongoing invoices you already have for a customer, and I can send that directly to the invoice, whether the customer is in front of me or not. Another option would be, rather than doing that from within the service module, would be to go to the sales module, go to Invoices New, bring up the particular customer, and you will note that one of the things I can do now is add a stock item. That stock item falls under a particular and rather important stock type within Eve called equipment servicing, and you'll see here that the service booking for that particular customer is listed, and I can add that right now to the sales receipt, and that will populate both with the service booking and with all of the information about what was done, which parts were used, etc. Any particular discount bands that this customer type has will also be automatically applied. And I can now excuse me, hit the payments on the receipt. Customer will pay as appropriate, hit save, and I'll be prompted not only to create a receipt, but should we wish to do so, any associated documents, and if it's important in your store that you wish to have the service agreement signed off, so to speak, by the customer, you have the opportunity again to reprint that service agreement so that the customer can sign that work has been done to their satisfaction. And that is how you can fully complete a service booking and send it to an invoice.